Boom, we're live and on the air. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the channel. Views and opinions expressed during this episode may not be the same as the views and opinions of our advertisers or YouTube. Discretion, yeah. Discretion is advised. This is not a news broadcast. And good evening. This is Yankee from Yankee's Outdoor Adventures and doing my co-venture with Hiking Deep. We do a currently once a month episode of Uncovering the Truth about conspiracy theories. And this is part 2 to last month's UFO topic, which went over really good. A lot of people asked that we would do it again or continue it, and we decided to. And of course, with me tonight is my brother Ford. Ford, how are you doing this evening?
Doing very, very well. Thanks for having me again. It's always a pleasure.
It's awesome to have you here, man. These are great chats. Excuse me.
Hey, Joel. I want to say hello to everyone in the chat room. Happy New Year to everyone.
Definitely a great big happy New Year. And you know what? Right in the beginning here of this chat too, man. I wanted to give a where is it? It's right here. I just wanted to give a shout out to the people that participated last month in this topic. We had a lot of people in the chat room, and a lot of you got involved in the conversation, and that's what we're hoping you guys continue to do with this series, because here in this series, we want you to express your opinion. We really do. The only thing we ask is that you express your opinions and voice them to the panel, and not so much to each other to avoid the argument. But everyone's opinion is valid. And Wolfgang, Uncle Al, Detroit Preppin', Dwayne, In the Woods with Wolfie, The Real DJ, Fruit Loops, Flute, Forest, Permaculture, Wood Pigeon Outdoors, Walt, Raven Jr., Jerry's Wood Shop and Outdoors, Hawks Adventure stopped in, and Foraging stopped in. Bunch of great channels, and appreciate the interaction. Tonight we're going to continue with our UFO topic. Ford, right in the very beginning, I figured of this, I would I'd slide this here. I'd get rid of my ugly face for 1 second, and I'd jump and show the monolith, because last month we actually did a talk about the monolith, and at the time we talked about it, it was a weird oddity. Nobody knew exactly who did it, where it came from. I just wanted to do a follow-up on that it was removed, and in the removal, excuse me, it was removed, and in the removal of it, you can see where epoxy was used to hold it, and the stones was cut. The triangle piece of metal you see here in this picture is actually all that remains of it there. Ford, did you mention that there was one that appeared for a couple days in another area?
Yeah, I live in Springdale, Arkansas, which is located in northwest Arkansas, about 45 miles north of here. There's a small town called Eureka Springs. Eureka is home to the most haunted hotel in the United States. One of these monoliths showed up there. I think it was there for 2 or 3 days. I had planned to go up and see it, but by the time that I was able to go up there, it had already been taken down, removed. So these things are appearing all over the globe now.
Well, I think it's safe to say it's an art fashion. It's something that we're doing.
Yeah. Well, we live in a world of hits and likes, so people are going to flock to this. It's gonna be a thing for a little while. I know for a while it was garden gnomes. This garden gnome was traveling the globe, and then it was a little figure of Bigfoot. So I guess now it's going to be monoliths.
Right. 2021, which again, Happy New Year to everyone. This is New Year's Eve. 2021 may be an interesting year when it comes to UFO fanatics and whatnot, because of some really recent bills that were passed.
like the
would
stimulus
you,
bill.
yeah, would you like to
Yeah,
elaborate? And actually, while you're elaborating, I'll pull that up here real quick.
yeah, cool. One of the stipulations in the stimulus bill is that the government has 180 days from the stimulus bill being activated to disclose a large amount of evidence that the government has proving the reality and existence of UFOs. I think they call them unidentified aerial phenomenon. And so we might get a little trickling down, little bits of information, but if not, in 180 days, our government has agreed to come forward with disclosure. So that puts them, I think, in
I,
June.
I think it's going to be huge for the new year. Now, I mean, it's huge in a couple directions. Of course, I would have to ask right away that if how much disclosure can they give if we are talking about our own U.S. military being behind the UFOs. If these are top secret projects, then
Right.
we can't really divulge too much, right? So I think there will probably be some type of loophole in there. But then next of all is if they are something other, because we had just recently we had that Navy footage, and the U.S. Navy openly admitted that they had no idea who was piloting the object or what it was. It moved beyond really our capabilities. Now, this, it opens up a wide door for learning more about these things, of whether or not they're possibly from Earth, opposed to
Right.
from out of this world. You had Ford mentioned to me earlier today about the new space race that we're in, and I think that's a really valid point when we talk about aerial phenomenons. To point out that there is still a space race going on. It's just not so much with Russia anymore.
Right. Now, I want to touch upon three topics that you just enlightened us to. One being disclosure. There can't be full disclosure because we're going to have black programs. We're going to have advanced technologies that we want to keep secret from a military standpoint. And America's not going to put all of its cards on the table. But any disclosure, anytime the government comes forward and says that there are craft that defy explanation in physics, known physics, that is instantly a threat to our national security. So I'm interested. It's going to be interesting to see how our government dances around that.
Yeah,
now,
I am. I'm genuinely curious as well.
Yeah, me
how
too.
that goes down.
Right.
And of course, if it does turn out to be something extraterrestrial, well, then that again is going to make 2020 a very interesting year, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is. And it looks like it's going to, it currently looks like, I'm not trying to upset anybody, that it's going to fall into the lap of Biden and Harris. So I'm really anxious to see how they deal with that and the backlash that will come from that. We talked about the space race. The last great space race was during the Cold War, and we were the Russians put the Sputnik up in I think it was a Sputnik. I may be wrong about that. I think it's right. Yeah, Sputnik into orbit, and then we followed with Mercury, and I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, John Glenn, who went around the Earth in the Mercury orbiter.
Right.
And so that the race was on, and some people don't believe that we went to the moon. I believe we did go to the moon. And then everything slacked off, and for decades, people have been scratching their heads and asking, why haven't we advanced technologies to get back to the moon and inhabit the moon and perhaps mine the moon? And we have to have the moon as a platform to get to Mars, and then to perhaps Titan, which is the major moon of Saturn. It's very much like Earth, primal Earth.
Well, there is a country that when it comes to the moon, whether or not you want to argue they're ahead of us with anything else, but when it comes to the moon, they are definitely ahead of the United States. And, that would be China right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, China will most likely be, unless something, totally turns a table, China will be the first off this planet station on another body, which will be on the moon.
It certainly does look like that. However, NASA, now a lot of people think that NASA is privately funded. If not, I think a majority of NASA is controlled by the Defense Department. And so NASA is going forward with what's called the Artemis Project. And Artemis is a Greek deity. She's a Greek goddess, the goddess of, I believe, war and the moon. And so the Artemis Project, it's an international collaboration, and we're preparing to send a team to orbit the moon and then start construction on a long-term moon base. So that's the Artemis Project. Now, as far as China goes, they just had an orbiter land a rover, and they surveyed the dark side of the moon. So for years, conspiracy theorists have talked about there being an alien habitation on the dark side of the moon. So if that's a fact, China does know about it now. And of course, they're not going to divulge that information to America or to the rest of the world.
Right.
So this is
again, that comes into all the ifs and curiosities that, if there were such a thing, then I guess the truth would be that we would have known about that quite some time ago. This would be a recent discovery. One of the coolest theories, and let me point out too, let me point this out for the viewer's sake as well as YouTube's sake, that in these shows we voice also opinion. When a lot of these topics, there is no fact. So opinion is what we get to go on. And I just want to make clear that when I voice an opinion, it may be just that based opinion, but I had heard a theory, which is no more than what these are, is that the race to the moon in the first place was to recover, technology. But the twist to that was that it was to recover technology left there by Earthlings who made it to the moon thousands of years before our generations that we hold history of made it to the moon.
That's entirely possible.
It's just a really cool theory,
Yeah. Well, in our first segment, we talked about lost technologies and lost civilizations on Earth. Also, there's a lot of conspiracies about the Nazis actually making it to the moon, as well as settling down a base in the Antarctic.
Right.
So who knows? Yeah, I mean, the Nazi technology. I'm not pro-Nazi, so I don't want to start that crap. But you had to respect them for their advancement in technologies. And aerial technology, they dominated the skies.
Right on.
Yeah.
Let me say hi to Uncle Al and Burnwood Bushcraft, Stitches of Joy stopping in to see us. And our Hammerbot is on the clock in there. So guys, be polite to Hammerbot, and Hammerbot will be polite to you. Peter Parker, you're still hanging out. Welcome. And oops, there we go. It's so touchy, but everybody, welcome. If anyone has anything they want to add to the conversation, may it be fact or theory, we're always open to listening. And I think you'll find that we're not judgmental on all these things because, again, a lot of these things we're talking about, there is no actual proof.
That's why they're conspiracies.
Exactly. But when we talk about governments, and I know we ended up doing this with the first episode as well, governments do have things that they don't release to their public. Like in what you see here, all these things that you see in that picture are items that at one point in history would have been flying through the air, but the government would have denied it if anybody saw it.
Right.
And you'll notice that a lot of those don't look like, your normal traditional planes. And we've had this stuff for a while. That's, I think, another big one. The ones we see now, we've had for so long, it makes you wonder
Right.
what the government has right now that we won't see for 50 years.
Well, I remember being a little boy in the early 70s and seeing the SR-71 Blackbird and the U-2 spy reconnaissance jet, thinking, shit, we're living in the future. And I was probably in the first or second grade, and that was right after the Vietnam era. And then it came out that the SR-71 Blackbird was used as aerial reconnaissance during Vietnam.
Right,
And
right.
of course, later the U-2 was shot down by the Soviets during the Cold War. That was a huge prize for them, and that gave them a big leap in technology.
It was
So
a big
overnight,
secret. Uncle Al talking about Chinese ancient landing on the moon 4 BC. And I know of that story. That goes to the emperor that used rockets on his throne, right? If I remember the
right,
story right, he used rockets on his throne to go to the moon and beyond, I think, as well. But
yeah,
there are legends like that. I think those ancient legends do lead to working their way into modern theories. I mean, after
right,
all, that's why think about the hollow earth. There's, could there be a civilization that contained in this case, what everyone thinks is an alien race?
right,
It's
right.
also another theory. So,
Well, the Chinese invented gunpowder, so who knows?
right, that's what I thought was awesome about the rocket thing, was because I believe even in that ancient text they spoke of building the individual rockets as well for the launch. So
Yeah,
uh,
not only the Chinese, but India's culture goes back, and they talk about vimanas, which are
yep,
flying machines.
that's another flying machine. That is,
Yeah,
and
right.
it's not, and even there isn't the only place. The there's been a lot of in ancient stories some type of craft that comes from the heavens.
The Christian Bible, the book of Ezekiel, talks about a craft coming down, and
Right,
and
yeah,
and,
I
and
mean,
something exited it.
exactly. And you go like the book of Ezekiel, it goes into detail of this
Right,
thing. It wasn't like a mystic angel with wings. This was like a machine that
machine.
came from. So
Right.
um it, it poses the question. But on that same note, I like to point
Excuse
out a thing that actually happened back during World War II. We used islands that were uninhabited for pit stops and airport bases. Overnight, we would come in, transform it into an airport, and stay there for however long, and then we disappear again. Some of these islands were inhabited by an indigenous people. When we landed, they didn't know about airplanes and all that stuff. They just didn't, guys. They were in a little quarter of the world that just didn't know. And of course, the soldiers were friendly, as American soldiers have their reputation to be, and they handed out chocolate bars and canned ham and all the things they'd have in their rations. But eventually, they left. And when they left, the interesting thing that happened was that culture actually began to collect things in the woods and build replicas out of the forest, would build replicas of airplanes and set them on the runway. And they did all this and paid homage to it, all in hopes to bring back the god who had Hershey bars and canned ham, because he was a pretty
Right.
cool god. Uh,
Yeah.
there was no way to convince them people otherwise.
Right.
And anytime we talk about an ancient text and we talk about that doesn't, for me, conclude. And even if you convinced me that ancient story was true, it doesn't conclude alien intervention, because there could have been a technology that's older than what we realize.
Right.
And that's,
Yeah.
that's always the theory that I fall back on, is that there could be a technology. And, we get into a fact. The fact of the matter is we only know what we are taught and what we can learn about our own environment. And I'm talking about the planet Earth. There could be places on the planet Earth where islands or continents, for that matter, exist that theoretically you or I wouldn't know about it. We only know that what the globe shows us. And we got all kinds of no-fly zones out there. So what is it that people aren't allowed to fly over if there's nothing there?
There are 2 or 3 areas on Google Images of the I think it's the Pacific Ocean, and they're blotted out. And I think there was one massive area in the southern part of the Atlantic. It's blotted out. Why is it blotted out?
I don't know how many of you ever do that just for fun. You get on your Google Globe, your Google Earth, and they'll give you, these awesome satellite views of anywhere you pick in the world. So what do you do if you're somebody like me? Well, you type in Area 51, right? You want to go to Nevada. You want to go if you're going to get a satellite view. Well, right away, as soon as you go to something that's government, something that's no-fly zone, well, now there's these it's like this boxed area, and it's all blurred, and you can tell maybe there's something in there, but you can't tell what.
There's a couple of places, huge expanses in the Antarctic that are blotted out, and if they're not blotted out, they're strict no-fly zones.
Yeah, the Antarctic really, I really find it interesting myself, and let me pull.
Very good. That's it.
And if you look at it on the Google map, like right now in this picture, you see at the bottom, you see them real dark areas. The picture to the exact opposite side of that shows you another shoreline that's real rocky, and you'll notice it ain't black like that. That blackout is deliberate, and you can tell when you look at it there. One of the other things you can see plainly also is the square blotted out areas like they do over military bases and whatnot. The thing that interests me the most is that how much stuff on the shorelines is blurred out. It's like there's not much shoreline that doesn't have something built on it. It's interesting. It is interesting.
That's interesting in the fact that although there are multi-countries represented in the Antarctic, and there are military units there year-round, it's a DMZ. It's a non-conflict zone. So why would they block it out? It's supposed to be global.
It is. It's interesting. And then as I was buzzing around, I took a picture. Actually, Google doesn't update, but it's so many days, like 100 and some odd days or 200 and some odd days before they'll do updated pics. So this one's probably still there if you go look at it. I just thought it was cool because there's so much no-fly zone. But look at that item the satellite picked up, but I guess it could have been practically anything. I guess it could have been a piece of space debris up near the satellite, for that matter.
Who knows? Who knows? It's not just in Antarctic. It's not just the Pacific and the Atlantic. If you Google Earth, and you can go to websites on YouTube and see full-length videos on blotted out areas, you will be stunned at the amount of surface area on Earth that we're not allowed to see.
Yeah, I was, especially, I wasn't for the general things that you would expect. There's a
Right.
lot of military bases and whatnot, and of course, I didn't expect to be able to peer in at Area 51 and do zoom ins, and no, I didn't expect that. But when you're just going across the ocean. Now, why would you do that? Well, I told you it's fun because sometimes you catch boats and you just catch stuff. It's fun to see
Right.
what the satellite caught. But if you go across the ocean, you encounter these areas, and Google tricks you because they shade their stuff with a color that matches
Right. The
the
hue.
area. But there's a
Yeah.
difference, and you can literally see it if you zoom in and look for it. So, you can pass by at a far zoom, but it's when you come in on it, it's like, oh, wait a minute, why is that a big squared out blur?
Yeah. A hazy looking area. Right.
Yep.
So who knows, man? And getting back to these UFOs, uh, the in the United States, the I guess sighting occurrence where the most people saw the UFO simultaneously was the Phoenix Lights,
Yeah.
and the person who first reported the Phoenix Lights um, is the actor Kurt Russell. He was flying in from L.A. in a private plane and reported seeing the UFOs. And he says that it was not flares. He says that it was craft that were being intelligently manipulated. And the mishandling of that situation by the state's governor cost him his job. He was a well respected man, but when he came out a few days later after the incident and made fun of it publicly, the people turned on him. And
Right.
so that
Right.
shows more and more people are willing to accept this and take this topic very seriously.
But see that does pose the problem because now um, there's another sighting that is very similar to the lights you mentioned, right?
Yeah,
And
the
it
Phoenix
happened over a town where several police officers were involved in chasing the item.
Lights.
Okay,
Right.
and later, now you're just going to give you a fast forward to this because that night there were several police officers that literally tracked it all over town, keeping radio communication. But now fast forward after the fact, a group came forward and claimed that they did it.
Right.
They were asked to do it for a research show. Asked them, well, do it again.
Replicate what you
and,
did, right?
and do it during the daytime so we can film it and show people what it was. And they claimed that they couldn't do it again because they violate too many FAA rules, and that was their cop out. So
Yeah.
but the thing is it leaves enough of that mystery to create sides. Now,
Right.
For someone who really doesn't want to believe in it being anything else, it's easier for you to jump on that bandwagon and say, well, you know what? Now these guys came forward. It's like crop circles. A group
Right.
came forward and with proof and pictures and even videos of themselves making some of the most famous crop circles, and it created a split community on it. There's still people that believe, and then there's people that say, well, no, you know. So it's all designed for conspiracy. That's what it's
Sure it
designed
is.
for. Dwayne,
It's
welcome.
it's
Great
very
to have you.
divisive. Um, it's
Gemma,
like pretty much anything else. You either believe or you don't.
hey, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
we want to know the truth, but we honestly live in a society that doesn't really value truth, as sad as that is to say it like that. But if we valued truth, then we would begin to reward truth and punish non-truth.
like Jack Nicholson said, you can't handle the truth.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, right.
it's,
So
the last 4 years, and not to get political, love it or hate the last 4 years. Uh, if anything, I think it convinced more people that two sides lie like dogs. It doesn't matter who you were for. Two sides lied to you like a dog, man. They were lying like dogs.
man, I'm not going to get political on this conspiracy show, but or episode, but man, you can't take no one side is better than the other. They
No.
get behind closed doors and sip on martinis and have fancy sandwiches and laugh at us.
So it brings it to that valid point about what would we ever actually know. We talked about the bill. There was a stipulation in the virus
Stimulus.
bill that stated the Pentagon had 180 days to release top secret files having to
Right.
do with UFOs. So.
Right.
What does that really mean to the public? So say that does happen. Say there is something to tell.
Well,
Who's going to tell us? And would they tell us?
man, any information would be appreciated. But the real beauty of this is it's coming free without charge. So, we're not getting taxed for this part of it. So it's just, some intern somewhere compiling information together that they decide that they want to feed to us. So, but at least it's free. So
exactly. And hello,
yeah.
Truth Seeker. We want the truth, and I agree.
Yeah.
And Dwayne, welcome, guys. If I miss anybody coming in, don't let me miss you. Say something again. I'm just trying to buzz back, see if anybody had any questions. Of course, you're always invited to join in on this topic. If you have something you want to add, please add it. Let us throw it around here, because again, we don't judge anybody's opinion, especially when it comes to these things that we don't know about. How can we judge an opinion?
Yeah.
And Uncle Al agrees with you, Ford.
Okay.
And
he and I talk a lot, so I know where Uncle Al is.
Oh yeah, Uncle Al straight up, man.
Yeah, he is. He doesn't bullshit.
True Seeker 2020. I don't recognize your avatar. Is that all new, or are you new to the channel? I'm just curious. And welcome either way.
I think I've seen Truth Seeker.
What's that?
I think I've seen that channel before. It seems familiar to me. Truth Seeker. Yeah. So
something's different.
Oh, that's cool. I can't. I want to let everybody know if you say anything to me or ask me anything. I can't see the chat, so I don't know who's coming and going. So if you want to ask me a question, I'll do my best to answer it. But you got to let Yankee know. And so I think that the Hammerbot's programmed to pick it up. And if Yankee, you see it, and let me know. Yeah. But I apologize to everyone. I cannot see the chat. But I appreciate all of you being here.
Ask a question. As long as you use a question mark, I do believe Hammerbot will pick it up. So help me test it and ask a question, guys.
Yeah, that's the way it's programmed.
Anything that you're curious about. We both are very opinionated guys, so we'll definitely share an opinion.
I want to say this and then get off this topic on my side. You can talk about it ad nauseum. I don't mind. When it comes to politics, I'm the definition of bipartisan. I don't believe that one is any better or evil than the other. I'm very conservative about some things and then very liberal about others. So I'm that fine line between the two.
I'm one of those also. Definitely a fence sitter. I don't want to abide with anybody, but I guess I'm waiting for the side to win, so I'll step on that side then for survival's sake.
I'll always try to do what's morally appropriate and ethically right.
There you go. And that's all any of us can do.
I hope so. Yeah.
Ford, let me ask you. What do you think?
Your
that
sound changed. Your sound.
my sound,
Yeah.
my sound
Ask the
dropped
chat.
out.
Yeah. Ask the chat room if they can hear you.
Let me do this. See if it helps.
Uh,
Did
hey,
that help
everybody.
or no?
Wait a minute. What?
Did that help or no?
It sounds like you're speaking into a tube.
All right, hang on a second.
Okay. Hey, everybody. Happy New Year. So I can't see the chat, and I'm just sitting here. So I hope everybody's doing well. That
That fixed it. Well, anyway,
fixed it.
Ford, let me
Yeah.
ask you a question. What do you think the chances are that things that are seen as UFOs are from out of this world opposed to from this world? If you had to choose, which do you think is a better chance?
A better chance off planet.
You think off planet?
Yeah, but now saying that, I also believe that we have technology that will blow our minds once it comes forth. So I believe that uh, we're very our ingenuity. Humans are capable of anything, man. So a lot of this is our technology, but also some of it, I think most of it is off world. Too many things happen in space that we can't understand, and there are more than just natural anomalies. So yeah, I'm going off world as far as a majority off world. How about you?
I'm on a major split decision. Do I believe? I guess I'll do a breakdown for myself. Do I believe there could be life on another planet? I guess essentially
Oh,
that's the first question of this, and
okay.
yes, my
Yeah.
answer would be yes. So I do believe that. I believe that life. I believe life happens too abundantly for we find life, guys, in the most obscure places, and I believe if we look hard enough, we'll find life even now. So is there life? Yeah, I believe there definitely could be life in the cosmos. So
Yeah.
now my next thing to get this to outer space or Earth would be if there was such life, would they be able to get to us? And thinking about
Okay.
what I know about outer space, guys, outer space is big, right?
Yeah. Right.
We're talking huge. So
Yeah.
if they came to us, we'd almost have to assume they were closer than another star system. They would almost have
Right.
to be inside our own.
Well,
Uh,
our solar system comprises of us, our moon, and everything that we know out to Pluto. But that lies within an expansive galaxy, and in that galaxy, there are hundreds of billions of stars, and each of those stars, let's just say they have one planet. Well, you take that one planet, and then you say how many moons. And I think the key to this is not necessarily finding the planets that can sustain life, but finding the moons that can sustain life. And in our small solar system, we've already identified Titan. We've already identified Miranda, Europa, and there's a moon in the asteroid belt called Cirrus. Don't quote me on that. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it, but they're all liquid. So they have heated oceans. So therefore, they could be teeming with life. Now, what we're talking about is advanced life, and advanced life is the rationale to understand the world around you, the curious to study that world around you, and the ability to advance oneself in technology. Now, I think it's very arrogant for human beings to sit here on this planet and see it falling apart around us and thump our chest saying that we're the king of the beasts. There's got to be something better than us out there.
well, I mean, I agree. I guess
I guess where I differ on that is I don't necessarily agree that they have to come from out there.
Okay.
I what I'll lead back. Let me throw this picture back up. I'll lead back to all the places on our own planet that we don't know about as public. We don't know about. They're blurred out. They could be anything. There could be whole continents out there we don't know about.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I mean, theoretically, there could be. I'll go to proof of what our government does. With this picture here is just simple proof that there has been numerous attempts and successes of flying crafts that our government denied for decades, only for us later to find out, that was
Hey,
there.
let me interrupt you. We got two questions from the chat. Joy just handed them to me. One is from Uncle Al. He asks about the flying suit that around the globe people are seeing what looks to be a man flying around, but he has no device for propulsion. It just looks like a human being or the figure of a human being flying randomly around.
Like Superman style?
Yeah, well, no, it's just kind of like an upright position. And I've seen videos of this. I've seen this on YouTube.
Oh man, I didn't.
Gosh,
I wish I had pictures.
It's kind of creepy. I don't know what to think about that, Uncle Al. That's a creepy thing to see. And it just looks like a human form, a torso, head, 2 arms, 2 legs, and it hovers and then flies. And whatever it is, it could be a hologram, but it's intriguing and it's kind of scary to see.
Well,
Because
we
it
talk
doesn't
about
fit.
that holograms and hovers, and,
Yeah,
may
yeah,
not be. When we notice things like, in the little pink picture down here in the corner, I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but that's the item that the military took pictures of. They claimed that it moved in a way that really wasn't possible to move. If you put a man inside of it, he would have died. What do you think the chances are that those things even have men inside of them in the first place?
If it's our technology or Earth technology, and they move so erratically, it's got to be a drone because our bodies aren't built to withstand the G forces that some of these things, with the way these things maneuver. But
see, I would propose to that even if it came from out of this world, the chances it would be a drone would be way more likely than it being humanoid, just based on our own exploration. We're the aliens right now because we're on Mars with a drone, and we keep sending more drones to Mars. The end of next year, we'll have a flying drone on Mars.
I know, isn't that cool? I love that.
It is pretty cool.
Oh, I love that, man. Well,
so if an alien race were to come here, would they even come in person? Would it be worth the risk? It's not to us. We don't send people first. We send drones.
Well, to Uncle Al, I watched a video pertaining to this topic earlier in the week, and some people were saying it was a demon, and I have to chuckle at that because a demon, that's a celestial being. It doesn't need a spaceship. It doesn't need to cloak itself. A demon, from my understanding, survives to dominate and subjugate and create chaos. So I don't see UFOs or aliens as demonic. Now they may be nice, but they may be mean.
Because I know it. And one of the greatest things about the show, and this is why I encourage you guys, if you have a different opinion, please put it in there, because Ford and myself, we know so many of these opinions, and we can openly talk about them in both views. So to speak of it being a demon, and I'll speak for a Christian behalf for a moment. In a Christian viewpoint, a demon would be willing to transform itself into anything that deceives
absolutely.
you. Okay,
Sure.
so a UFO, a light in the sky, there are religious groups that would see all that as demon.
Well,
and
and then you get
flying, I'd imagine they'd really go
yeah.
demon with that.
Oh, they were going off on it, demon. And but then you've got the Heaven's Gate. Remember that cult? Apple
Yes.
Blossom or whatever, Apple White, and they were on the other side of the fence. They thought that they were holy and good, and they took themselves out so they could catch the end of that comet trail because it contained a UFO. Yeah, Heaven's Gate. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google Heaven's Gate.
I know, man. They all had 50 cents in their pockets, and they all wore Nike shoes.
Yeah, man. Once you get the UFO, you got to have the 50 cents.
You needed the 50 cents to get on. But guys,
you got to have yourself a cup of coffee, man.
Anytime somebody tells you that you're gonna kill yourself but need to bring money, there's something wrong with this.
Something wrong.
Just telling you.
They may have a toll booth. So the truth seeker asked 2 questions. Well, actually, I think it's 1, but we can look at it as 2. And we're going to have to do a show on the question.
Yeah,
flat Earth.
I see it here, but go ahead.
Flat Earth or globe? Oh man, I'm globe. I'm a glober.
I'm globe. I'm a hollow earther.
Yeah, you are a hollow earther.
I am a dude. I love the thrill of the
If I talk to you 3 times, you're going to bring that up once. And I respect it. Yeah, I'm on board with hollow Earth. I'm on not necessarily the whole core, but there's pockets that are hollow that can sustain a culture or civilization. I have no problem with that. But but you have to have a globe in order for it to be hollow. So I got to go with the Earth is a globe. The planets and moons are globes. Nothing is perfectly round, but optical. I mean, circular. Yeah.
He actually has 3 questions here. So the next one would have been, did we go to the moon? I'll answer first. And I say, yes, I believe whether or not we went to the moon when we said we did. But yes, at this point, I believe we have been to the moon, and we're not the only humans that have been to the moon.
I want to say this. When we do the show on the moon conspiracy, I used to know a guy who worked on the Apollo projects. Actually, I've known 2 gentlemen that's worked on the Apollo projects, but one guy, I'm going to go ahead and come out, just disclosure here. I was getting stoned with him, and he started, I got him to talking, and I think he said a little bit too much, but I want to share that during that show and not now. It's a teaser.
Yeah.
But we definitely went to the moon, but we screwed up the publicity. And I can explain that once we do that show. Yeah, so we definitely went to the moon.
And then go ahead and start the 3rd question.
Yeah.
You want me to do it?
What was it? Yeah.
The 3rd question was: is the moon, or is the where'd it go? Is the white sun a simulator?
That's a great question. About a week ago, my wife and I are driving through town, and we were headed toward the sun, and the sun was as white as cotton, and it's changed colors. It has changed colors. I remember when the sun was yellow and then orange, and during the day, and that was white. What the hell is going on with the sun?
Or is something going on with our sky? See, because we look through a lot before we see the sun.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? That's would be my first impression when it comes to that, because it's been a topic for a while that the sun has changed Some of it, some people have worked it into the what do they call it? The Mandela Effect, which is another topic I think we'd like to talk
Can't wait
about.
to get to it. That's right. Right.
But there is a lot that we look through, a lot of light refraction through the atmosphere, and we got a lot of crap in our atmosphere, and maybe the color of the sun could indicate that our atmosphere is getting really crappy, you know.
It's one or the other, but he's right, and the sun has definitely changed colors over the past few decades, and it's dramatic.
But to go to the simulator part, we did do a simulation series, and I guess we didn't actually address of whether or not we're real, but the sky is a simulation, and because I've heard that theory as well in the past. But you know, again, the technology that's required would definitely indicate somebody smarter than us being behind all.
I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't have an answer or an opinion on that one because I have no idea.
You know, have you ever heard of sky stones? This happened like somewhere in India, I'd imagine, is where this originally took place. There's an ancient story that the gods turned the sky to stone, and a craft had crashed through the stone, showering the sky, showered all this stone when it crashed through to the ground. Now there's these blue sacred rocks that this tribe holds, and they're supposed to be rocks that were, they were sky stones. They were part of the sky when it was a stone. A team found a bunch of these rocks. They were doing an excavating, and what was really curious was when they got the rocks tested, they didn't have anything. It was either a new type of rock altogether, and it's a beautiful blue color, and it's not turquoise, and it's just odd, and they claim it to be really light, but it was a new element. So it was a very interesting find, and
cool.
And they found it in the area. When they found it, they asked the locals if they ever seen anything like it, and the locals were like, "Yeah, that's sky stone. That's the sky you're holding in your hand.
That's awesome.
It's really cool that we find things like this when we have those type of mythological stories.
Because when I hear that, I think maybe there is flat Earth, maybe there is a dome.
Yeah, maybe there is a simulated
shattered part of it, right?
Yeah, back then it broke. Maybe there was something going on, and the guy who runs the program crashed into it with his big ship, because that's what they said kind of happened.
Man, I just recently I was talking with a fella a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying that in the Bible, and I think in the Quran, and in a couple of references in history, the moon disappeared for a while. I'm going to look more into that. So when we do the moon conspiracy, I want to know about that.
You see, but there's ancient stories that talk about the moon and the sun, but there's also more recent, still very old, but more recent ones when we get into just as recent as the Dark Ages, when they talked about days on end when the sun and moon didn't shine. But this actually was a cause of, what we can tell today was a cause of volcanic action here. And again, becomes not so much the problem of the item that we're looking at, but that barrier of sky we're looking through. And, I believe both of the items can be blacked out of the sky, but it doesn't mean they're not still there shining on the other side. You know what I mean?
By something natural occurrence.
And it does all the time, though. I mean, we have volcanoes that erupt. Just imagine, more massive ones and what that does. I think one of the biggest ones in the more recent lifetime would be Mount St. Helens, and it created a 10-degree difference around the world just from that volcano. So you imagine a super volcano would create a major difference.
Hey, man, we're almost out of time. Do you want to go longer or do you want to cut this off?
I think if unless anybody's got some questions or anything they want to add, I would like to ask. We got 8 in here right now, so I'd like to ask you guys to let me know what you personally would like to hear as the most as our next topic. We talk about
Yeah.
a lot of conspiracy things,
Yeah.
and I'm curious what you guys would like to know most, or like to hear us talk about most, because it'll be it'll be engaged for you guys to get involved. And of
Okay.
course, if anyone has anything they want to add here on this show, please do so.
Can I put you on the spot?
Go ahead, do it.
Okay. How about you having a poll of say 10 conspiracy choices and whomever's watching come in and select between those 10.
I think
And
YouTube will let me set up a poll, but I think I only can give 3 choices.
screw that. All right, never mind.
I think that's all I can give.
All right. So help us in the
Oh, there,
chat
Uncle
and then
Al.
come back and comment.
Uncle Al gave one I love. I love that.
What's that? Which one?
Time travelers.
Yeah, time traveler's cool.
Time travel's cool. It's a cool topic. It's a cool theory. It could explain a lot.
Yeah, it could. I don't know if I believe in time travel. That'd be a good one.
And Yellowstone is past due, and I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's scary. Yeah. I spoke with the gentleman from the Park Service, and he said that right now in parts of Yellowstone, it's blocked off from the public because the asphalt has melted off of the road. And there are areas where the bison now are migrating out and they're going back to where the bison were, and all the grass is burnt. That's scary.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey,
When the ground
Moss,
gets
welcome.
Oh, it's scary, scary stuff. When the asphalt melts and runs off into the ditch, that's
Well,
some nasty shit going down.
you know my theory, because I told you before, the only reason that hasn't gone off is because of all that underground water through there. I swear it's working like a radiator. But
Yeah, right, right.
here in the last the last couple of years, the water has been doing some oddball things in the park.
Yeah,
So
right.
who knows? Maybe it's drying up. Maybe it's maybe we'll be in trouble right there.
Those calderas are scary, man. Those
Plenty
rough
of
riders.
Marines out there. Will you be in line for the vax?
No. I'm gonna set that one out.
I'm gonna set that one out too. Yep. Hey, JAFUFM, my brother. JF. Great to have you here, man. And we are getting ready to wrap up. But if anybody has anything they want to add, and again, like I said, if you have something that really that topic you really like to hear us discuss, let us know. We'll definitely work it in. Maybe we'll work it into the very next show, for that matter.
Yeah.
There's
Come
so
back
many
to the
of
comments.
these we get excited about.
Yeah, come back to the comments and let us know. We may not do it immediately, but we'll put it on the list to be done. I'm riding this out. I'm having a lot of fun doing these shows. So we're not going anywhere.
All right, Truth Seekers, I'll make sure I check that out, bro. And Burnwood.
Hey, Burnwood. What's up, Ryan?
Double Hoggies Day. No vax. I get that, bro. I don't know. Again, everything here on this episode of these shows are opinion based. So you can't take what I say as fact. But what I know about medicines is it takes nearly 12 years for a medicine to go from a testing to your medicine cabinet. That's how long it takes before all the testing comes in. And we did a vaccine in 8 months, and we didn't rush it.
All right. So now here I'm going to state an opinion. If that's true, shame on all of them for not speeding up on other medications that people need to survive. Yeah. Shame on you. You should all be ashamed of yourselves.
And I like that. I agree.
But if it's not true that you can't do that, then shame on you guys for trying to make us your guinea pigs.
Plus,
and what's going to happen, in my opinion, you got to take a damn vaccine. And, in about 4 years, every other commercial on TV is going to be some dude from law offices of Schweizer saying, if you took the vaccine back in 2020, contact our office, and we got a lawsuit for you.
I'll tell you what, with this damn virus mutating like it is, I'm not going to trust the first vaccines, because
the damn vaccine can mutate in this virus right now.
This damn thing can mutate into something else in a year or a year and a half, and then you're going to have to go and take another experimental drug. No, that's not happening for Steve. I'm going to set this one out, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to wait, man. I'm gonna lay low. I'm not a banger who says, "Oh, I won't catch it," and I go out and just do humdrum. I try not to go out at all unless I need something. I cover up, I mask up. I say hand sanitizer's hanging right here on my tripod.
I'm not ashamed to say I'm a masker as well, and I don't get into that whole bullshit about it's a violation of my rights. Nah, man.
No. In my opinion, that never made much sense to me. If you're told to wear a damn mask for other people's safety, then you do it. That has nothing to do with your freedom. But
I just look at it as a common courtesy.
And that's the way I see it too. We're all supposed to be in this together,
It doesn't hurt me.
It's why governments fail is they build up. What do they build on in the first place is community. Without community, it'll build. Once they get so large, they ditch on community and they fall apart. So get ready. That's what happens every time. Look at history.
I agree. But, to each his own. I just, I don't want to, I'm going to go ahead with, I like wearing the mask. I think it looks kind of cool. So.
It makes flirting more daring. Vitamin C, vitamin D, and zinc. Nothing wrong right there, man. There's nothing wrong.
Yeah, take your supplements and try to eat right, smoke less, and do the best you can for yourself and your family.
Burnwood, thank you for coming, man. We are getting out of here, so guys, don't hesitate to come back. Leave a comment in the comment section. Let us know what you'd like to hear us talk about. Don't be afraid to put us on the spot. Make us, voice our opinion on it, and we will. We try to do it in a safe manner so that YouTube doesn't feel we're miseducating, and we don't want to miseducate you. That's not the purpose here. I'll never stand up and jump up and down and demand you believe what I believe. You have the right to believe what you want to believe. And you know what? I'm not here to change that. So, Ford, do you have anything you want to say in closing? And we'll get out of here.
I really don't. This has been a pleasure. I want to wish everybody a happy New Year, a healthy and safe New Year, and do what you will, but do no harm to others.
Amen.
That's about it. All right.
That's it, guys. What else can we say? Thank you, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy, and remember, not everything you hear is true. Not everything you see is 100% accurate. Things can always be different from a different point of view. So don't be afraid to stop and look at things another way. Until we meet again, guys, much love. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.